I think you and I both have had experiences over the last 3 years that have just been life-changing, that have been life-changing. But I feel like the reason that she and I wanted to kind of come back on the scene is that I feel like we both have a voice that needs to be heard.
But no, when you called me that morning where I was talking about, you were so, like, you were crying. The way you were crying, I literally could not understand you at first.
I
you
lost
just,
it.
Yeah, I just remember, like, you feeling it, like, because you said, I've been through this. You said, and I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
You said, and I'm going to be there. And you did. You showed up not too long after that. But you literally meant you were going to be there, for me. And at the time, I couldn't even process any of that.
And hope is what is needed out here in this world of crazy times, crazy situations. In a world of social media, like, we are just bombarded with all the awful things that are happening in this world. And there are lots, So I feel like hope is what people need.
Kicking It with Keshia is my baby, and it started so genuine, just talking about real estate on Instagram on Thursday nights. And then people start asking me for advice on their personal business. I kind of felt like God put me through these things to help other women, because my issue was I was stuck for a long time.
Yeah.
I was just stuck in the cycle of grief.
Welcome to episode 1 of Mamas on the Move 2.0. I am Brandi.
And I'm Keshia.
And we are Mamas on the Move. Was that good?
Yeah.
I kind of did move.
Well, we ain't harmonizing. We ain't patting the bell in the bell.
Okay. I didn't know if I needed to do that. So we good with that?
So we're back.
We're back, Keish.
It's been a long time.
It feels good to be back.
It does.
Yeah.
It's been 3 and some change, because I think the last time we recorded was we were doing the Zoom thing because we were inside.
Right.
The pandemic. So maybe like May 2020. So it's been 3 and some change. That's crazy. Time has really, really flown.
I know. And I missed us. I missed this.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I feel like the people missed us.
Oh, for sure they did. Because people were always under my comments saying, when y'all gonna bring Mamas on the Move back? And we tried, we attempted, but it's all about time. And just like everything else in life. And it just wasn't time to bring it back. We tried, but the whole Zoom thing, it just wasn't, Zoom wasn't Zooming for us.
Yeah.
Because people expect us to be in the same space, and we feed off each other's energy. And it's hard to do that over a computer. Yeah. I think that's why they're trying to make everybody bring their stuff back to work. All these bosses now are like, y'all got to come back in the office.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a difference. Like, we know that from when we work from home opposed to working in the office. But anywho, for those of them, the people that don't know us.
For those that don't know us, my name is Brandi Lewis, and I am a real estate agent. Been in the business for almost 19 years. Y'all to be 19 in a few months. And I'm a mother of a big tribe, a big blended family. I am a wife. I do a lot, I'm a gardener. Since the last time we recorded, I've added some other hobbies to my, my repertoire. So I garden now, which I truly, truly love. Okay. And, I love decorating. I love home decor. But I think that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Okay.
Is it? Am I missing something?
I think in a nutshell, we will, they'll get to know more of the details as they join us as we go along down our new journey. I'm Keshia. I am not married yet.
Yet, honey.
Because there's somebody on the scene, but anywho, they got to
talk about that later.
I have a son, which most people probably know, DJ. I think people know DJ better than they know me. Like, he gets walked up on all the time. North Carolina, wherever he is, people walk up to him. I'm a realtor, 23 years come this October, and I don't garden. I pay somebody to come and do my flowers because I don't like to be out there
like that. You water them, though.
I water them because that's my time with God in the morning. So yes, I do water my flowers, but you be down there like.
I really do.
Yeah.
I love it.
You do something on a different level.
In the dirt.
I was about to come over there and check on you at one point because you was in that garden a lot.
I was.
And I was kind of like, what's going on with my friend? Because that ain't really who she is.
No, it is now, though.
But it is now. Yeah, but you was in the garden a lot. And I was kind of like, I might need to pull up.
I know, and I spent a lot of money on it too.
Oh yeah, but it's beautiful though. When you go over there's a serenity when you come upon your property, and it's like, the flowers are blooming, and I'm like, tell me where you got those so I could put those out there. But yeah, so what hobbies have I come up with since the pandemic? I'm a landlord. A lot of people live with me now. They come and they go, and they come back again. So no, but seriously, my nephew, his fiance DJ is in school again. Just got him another apartment, and he has a job. But I'm trying to see, what is it that I'm doing. I think I've been on more of a personal journey, more so than any other new like habits or whatever.
Yeah,
yeah,
which we'll get into.
Yeah,
more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's kind of who we are in a nutshell.
And I feel like, a lot has happened in the course of our lives over 3 years. My Lord.
That's a long time.
A long time. Yeah. But in retrospect, it's like you look back and it's like, oh my God, it just flew past, right? So, but that's life. A lot of life is always happening, but it happens so fast. And it comes at you fast, right? I think you and I both have had experiences over the last 3 years that have just been life-changing, that have been life-changing. But I feel like the reason that she and I wanted to kind of come back on the scene is that I feel like we both have a voice that needs to be heard, right? I feel like people connect with us for a lot of reasons. One, they connect with us as businesswomen, as mothers, just our journey, our friendship, the chemistry, the connection we have. I feel like, people are inspired by us, are inspired by our stories. And then if people don't know our whole story, because a lot of our audience, this is our first time, their first time connecting with us.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think we should introduce that story and say how we met.
Absolutely.
And how we got here. I'll let you lead with that.
Okay, so I had been a realtor probably 4 or 5 years, maybe, and I went to an agent luncheon, and they have those on Tuesdays when you're trying to sell a community. So when I walked in, there was this really pretty tall lady, and I'm a really pretty tall lady, so it piqued my interest because it's rare that you see a 6 foot 6 foot woman. Like, so when I saw her, I was like, I wonder who she is. And everybody talking to her and whatnot. So I introduced myself, right? Didn't I come up? I came up and I introduced myself because I was I was nosy, trying to figure out who Brandi was. And we exchanged numbers, and I think we had lunch like 2 weeks later, maybe, or something like that. And she told me she had moved here from Chicago. She, I'll let you tell your story, but the fact that you had lost your husband, you shared that with me. And I remember telling you about my parents and so forth. And I was like, ooh, but I just don't know. Like, that is just deep. Like, how? I don't know how, da-da-da-da. And about, 14 months later, maybe, I was walking that same journey. Became a widow. Yeah. And it was in that moment that I was like, that. And when you called me that morning, that's something I don't think we've ever talked about. You called me the morning of when I found out you had seen it on the news.
I saw it. Was the craziest thing in the world, y'all. I'm getting my kids ready for school. They're all elementary aged, and I have to drive them to school. So I have the morning news on, and it's in the background, of course, because in the morning you just hustling, trying to get your kids together, getting breakfast. So I heard the name they said, and then I turned around and I saw Daryl's picture on the television, and my heart sunk. It dropped. I literally, I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? So I immediately called Keshia, and I got my kids to school, and my kids live literally she lives literally 3 minutes from their school. I went straight to her house to be there for her because I just couldn't believe that she had lost her husband, and I literally had lost my husband in 2004. So that was
4 years.
4 years apart.
4 years.
So it made me realize why God had placed me in Keshia's life. And it gave me this sense of responsibility and duty, like, I got to care for my girl. And I was still on my journey, right?
Absolutely, you were.
I was still on my journey
That's
of grief and adjusting to being a widow and a single mother. And it's
kids.
Of 3, honey. That first year of getting them to school, y'all, my kids were late. I mean, they sent me the report that they were late almost 40 times, right? And I'm like, I had to look back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm unfit. What am I doing? Right? But real talk, I was doing the best I could in that moment.
The best you could in the moment,
I was doing the best I could in that moment. And but I said, this is unreal. Like, but I knew in that moment that this is divine, that our connection, our relationship, our friendship is divine, and that God put me in your path for a reason. It wasn't just, oh, she's a tall, pretty girl, let me see what's going on.
Well, that's how it started, though.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
That's how it started, but it was bigger.
Yeah.
There was a bigger picture involved.
Yeah,
And
for
she
sure.
and I we had no
Didn't know
idea
at
what
that
it
time.
was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I had never before or since, because I told you, come work with me.
Yeah.
Like, at the time, at that time, I was the bigger agent.
Oh, you was a big dog. You was the biggest boss, okay?
And she came with me, I was like, boom, no, bitch, no. But seriously. But no, when you called me that morning, what I was talking about, you were so, like, you were crying like it had happened. Not like it had happened to you, but like it happened. The way you were crying, I literally could not understand you at first, because you were
lost
just,
it.
Yeah, you were just so, just
Distraught.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I just remember, like, you feeling it, like, because you said, I've
Oh,
been through
man.
this. You said, and I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
You said, and I'm gonna be there, and you did. You showed up not too long after that, but you literally meant you were gonna be there, like,
yeah.
for me. And at the time, I couldn't even process any of that.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of the first significant moments in my life where I know. I always have known God is real, but the way that played out to bring me a young mother, because back in the day, people always equate widows with older people.
Yeah.
But that time, since 9/11 and all of that, and so many young widows has changed. But that was a moment when I could say, okay, God, I see you working. Yeah. And I couldn't even really appreciate it for some time because I was so deeply stuck in grief.
Yeah.
But there were times that I could say, if this girl can do it with 3, I'm going to have to get on up and figure out how to do it with this 1, So that's how we met.
That's how we met.
That was the beginning.
Yep, that was the beginning. 2000 and
that was like 6, I think.
2006.
Yeah, late 2006, yeah.
Yep, and it's been a journey ever since. She and I, our friendship has grown, and and even over the years, we've just not just that situation. We've seen each other through a lot of other just life stuff, life stuff. So, so it's a blessing. I feel like it's a blessing to have, what we have, and to be on the other side of it. I feel like it's a bigger blessing. That's why I feel like, okay, it's almost our obligation to
it's a responsibility
to help,
sure.
Just to help. Sow into other women, because I think we give people hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we give people hope. And hope is what is needed out here in this world of crazy times, crazy situations. It is just like, in a world of social media, like, we are just bombarded with all the awful things that are happening in this world, and there are lots, So I feel like hope is what people need.
Yeah, hope is what you need, and hope is what sometimes is the glue to get you to that next day, next moment.
That's right.
Because there are so many people post-pandemic, I think in particularly, that have given up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard so many people taking their lives.
Yeah.
Like, it has been just, I mean, we all know somebody, or either know somebody who knows somebody. And that's not something you could say maybe 10 years ago.
Oh my God.
Like, I didn't know anybody personally who had committed suicide. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, we know that is something that has something shifted in the atmosphere, and not in a good way, I feel like, after that pandemic. But anyway, so that's how we met.
That's how we met.
That's the story.
Yeah, that's our story. That's how we got here. But now that we're here, we feel like, okay, what do we do with that? What do we do with, the going through our grief journey, overcoming that, working through the challenges of being single mothers and business owners, and which is a task in itself. It's a task in itself being a mama, but then being a single mama. I'm not a single mother anymore, but I was for years and years.
Right.
And it ain't no joke.
It's not. It's
even
hard.
even in a blended family now with a husband, I'm like, it's still mothering teenagers and young adults. It ain't for the faint at heart.
No, that young adult thing could take you out.
Ooh, baby.
I ain't kidding.
You think you got it rough when they toddlers?
Nah.
But no.
It can't even touch what
it can't
like
touch
a
it.
young adult.
Now you all over the place. Everything's just busy, and they're just busy, but you have control, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You
it's only
have
so
more
far
control.
They're gonna push you. Yeah.
Yeah. You're taking them here and there. Like you just have more control. So I think it just gives you more peace of mind because you control their lives. But as they become teenagers and young adults, that changes significantly, right? They are making their own choices. you have to deal with those choices.
And you're still paying for them as if they are children because they have no money.
Exactly.
But then they want to be adults. So then they try to girl, that's a whole episode in itself. We'll have to address that on
Yeah. I think that's his own episode.
That's his own episode. Seriously.
Right.
That parenting young adults is no joke. And I feel like we're losing so many of our kids in that critical space. But again, that's a thing for another day.
Yeah.
So B, you have done some things since the pandemic in terms of your career. I think you should share. You broken some records and worked with some of the top folks and all of those kind of things. And I think it's important. A lot of people don't like to talk about, and of course as realtors, we don't discuss race when it comes to sales and things like that. But you've done some things that no other what's the proper word? Black agent has done, in our industry. So I would love for you to share, because so many realtors, new realtors, older realtors are inspired by what you've accomplished, and I think it's important that you share some of those things. Because
and I'm modest, Mandy.
I know, but
but sometimes I feel like it's okay to pop your ish.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I will say I have. I've set some high goals for myself, throughout my career. And, I've managed to accomplish those goals. And, being the number one agent, I was at Keller Williams, being the number one agent at the Keller Williams office in Buckhead. And then, I set my sights higher, and I kind of transitioned to a new firm, Compass. I've been there almost 4 years. And now I'm the number one individual agent at the Compass office. And, worked with some high profile celebrities, Cardi B, Offset, Gunna. I don't want to leave anybody out, but just some
very
high profile, well known, established, not just celebrities. I work with a lot of high profile business owners, entrepreneurs, influencers. And so I feel like my brand that I've grown, and I came in from Chicago, y'all, with a hope and a dream to build a brand and a business, brick by brick. And it feels great to know that all the work that I put in, has paid off, So I'm in a really great space in my career. I feel like, I work a lot by referrals. I don't do a whole lot of lead generating, which, all agents have to do, but a lot of my business is referral based. And I'm also in a space now where I don't necessarily want to be the super top dog anymore. I'm tired.
You've paid your dues, and now you're in a softer life.
I'm in a softer life. That's why I like gardening.
Yeah.
Gardening. Now gardening is kind of intense. Now I be out there sweating and stuff, but it brings it soothes it brings me joy.
Why?
You know what? One, I just love flowers, right?
Yeah, you do. I love flowers too. Yeah.
I love flowers, and I love seeing. I love being able to nurture those flowers. Now, first I was a killer. Plant killer. I was. I killed the first year I got into gardening. Oh, I murdered everything. Okay, because you had to learn there's certain plants you plant in the sun, certain plants you plant in the shade. They have to be watered frequently. And first I was like, oh, they so pretty. I'm just gonna put them out here, and I didn't nurture them. So I learned a lot throughout the process. But it's very gratifying to be able to pull up in my driveway and I see my pretty flowers. To look on my deck, I see my pretty flowers. To just look in other spaces, and I'm like, man, I just love my pretty flowers. So that
don't say pretty flowers no more.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I just like my pretty flowers. So, but I won't say no more.
I was like, how many times you gonna say pretty flowers?
Okay, I won't say pretty flowers.
You said it 3 times. We get it. The flowers.
Okay, you get them. The flowers are pretty, and they just do something to me. I don't know I can't describe that, but I'm just passionate about it. So I like to do more of those things and focus on my home. I like to cook, so I just don't want to work as hard as I was. And I feel like I'm in a space now where I shouldn't have to,
Agreed. Yeah. Well, you don't. You have worked extremely hard for a lot of years.
Yeah.
I take my hat off, and you did build your business brick by brick. I helped stir the mortar.
Oh, no. Listen, I'm one who's going to give credit where credit's due, honey. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due, okay? So I have no problem sharing the story because Keshia, okay, talk about being molded and beat. No, I won't say beat.
What? Oh my God,
I won't say that. Let me rephrase that because she kind of whipped me into shape, which was needed. And sometimes as a new agent, here's what I'll say. you come into business and you have all these grandiose, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But there's such a learning curve. There's so much you have to learn to be a true professional who has a fiduciary responsibility.
Exactly.
Like that's deep, having
That
a
is.
fiduciary responsibility. Like that's really deep. And people don't understand the depths of that. And
Yes.
like if you truly take that to heart and truly represent your client, what that looks like.
It is.
You,
It's a lot
you
of
taught
work.
me that. Real talk, you taught me that. And I remember going through a walkthrough, Gates of Stone Lake for a house. Keshia had a community called the Gates of Stone Lake. And it was a John Willis community. And these homes at the time were priced in the, what, 5 to 7?
Sevens.
Yeah, 5 to 700,000.
This was like
range.
2005.
Right,
That was
which is
unheard of for this area.
Yeah, which is unheard
for
of.
the
So
area.
she kind of set the precedent, broke the mold for bringing that product to South Fulton. And she asked me to join her on that, which I was like, oh, okay, let's do it. Let's do it, baby. So I was excited because I wanted to get into the world of luxury, right? That was what I set my sights on. So she helped mold me in that area and teach me certain things, going through a walkthrough and doing an inspection the way it should be. I remember when I bought my own personal home, I didn't do my inspection for my personal home the way that Keshia taught me how to do that walkthrough, right?
Yes,
I'm like, hey, that's my personal home. I should have did better. I should have did a better job at my own personal home, right? But you taught me the ropes, and you really just made me sharpen. You sharpened my sword, and you put me on game. So I just say, like, you really put me on game.
But you know what I'll say to that though? You were so hungry. You would work. You would whatever I needed. You would do it. Like you obviously had your own business. It wasn't, but it's like you were not too proud.
Yeah.
One of the things I feel like a lot of times the new agents, they come in and be talking, I don't do rentals. Or I don't, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Girl.
What do you mean you don't do? And I mean, to each his own, but
Yeah.
that if you want me to mentor you,
Yeah.
baby, I'm out.
Yeah.
Anything you tell me what you don't do and you just getting into the business, I'm not the mentor
dare
for
you.
you. I'm not the because you need to learn all of it.
Yes.
Because there are going to be different phases of your career, and this is why I talk to people all the time about grace and being givers, because when at that time I was the top agent, one of the top agents in the area, but when Daryl passed away and I kind of pulled back from the business, and it felt like I blinked and 3 years was gone by, and I was just doing what just literally fell in my lap, nothing more. And it had changed a lot when I came back, and I had to call you, and you basically became my mentor.
Yeah.
And this is why I tell y'all, give grace, because you're going to need it back one day. I say this all the time, and help somebody else. It's very important that we're givers. That's so important, because I would have never thought,
I know.
And she been whooping whooping me ever since in sales. But, I don't really be wanting to work that hard. I be tired.
And you know what?
I make a certain amount, I'll be sitting down.
But you know what, Keish? And it took you going through that experience. And seasons change and people's
Absolutely.
needs and goals change. Like my needs and goals have changed. I have a husband who works like a Hebrew slave. I'm like, why both of us got to work like a Hebrew slave? Okay, so I need to kind of. I'm really.
Can we say Hebrew slave?
We said it.
I'm just saying. I don't know if somebody
It's
gonna
a
be like, you
saying.
said
You know what I'm
Hebrew slave.
saying?
Child.
He works hard.
He works very hard.
He works
Gotcha.
very hard.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate how hard he works to support our family, to support me. And I'm like, you know what? I don't have to. I'm very competitive. Like
you are.
I'm a former Lady Bulldog, played at University of Georgia. I think just being a former athlete, you are just always naturally competitive. My coach, my real estate coach, she laughs at me because I'll set a goal for the year, right? You do like. As a good agent, you should start working on your business plan for the next year now.
Right about
October.
now.
Yes.
Yeah, October.
So each year I work on my business plan, have that laid out for the following year. April, May will come, and I'll tell my coach, I want to up the ante. I want to up the ante. I know I set this goal, but let's do this. Okay, let's do this. And she say, Brandi, are you sure? And I'm like, yes. And my crazy self will strive for it and I'll do it, right? But I'm like, I don't feel like doing all that right now. So I'm just going to shift. I'm going to still service my clients at a higher level, but I'm just not going to
take on as much. Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And sometimes you can be like, okay, well, damn, you set the bar so high, you got to keep going. I'm like,
For
no.
who though?
For
who?
And that's the thing. Like, who is this for?
Right. Who is it for?
It was at first it was for me because it gave me a sense of gratification. Like,
Right.
oh, I hit my goal. Woo.
Right.
But I'm like, nah, shawty, it's time to take a little chill. It's time to take a break.
Yeah. And again, when life comes at you fast, it shifts it shifts the things that are important.
That's
it's
right.
not. It doesn't mean they're not still important, but they're not as high on the important list. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? So where it was like, okay, I want to sell. You would say I want to sell 50 million or whatever. Maybe that's now on number 4 on the ring.
Yeah.
Instead of being like one of, you know what I mean? After God, family, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it makes you look at things differently.
It does.
Yeah, it definitely does. So
So, okay, well, you tell me more about, where you are in the season professionally and other things.
I think you talking about other things.
Other things.
I think for me professionally, I still have goals that I want to hit in real estate, but I know in my core that is not my end all be all.
Yeah.
I know there's something else I'm supposed to do. That's why I brought back Kicking It with Keshia.
Yeah.
Because I can motivate differently there than what we can do here. It's a little bit more intense. I can be a little bit more direct. But Kicking It with Keshia is my baby, and it started so genuine, just talking about real estate on Instagram on Thursday nights. And then people start asking me for advice on their personal business. And I was kind of like, now, why they think I know? Because I'm up in here, I ain't even got nobody right now. But okay, well, but I've been married, so I can give you advice. I've had these things that have taken place in my life. And so I kind of felt like God put me through these things to help other women. Because my issue was I was stuck for a long time.
Yeah.
I was just stuck in a cycle of grief.
Yeah.
I couldn't, they say there are 7, I think, things of grief, 7 phases or 7 stages. And I got stuck pretty early on. I don't know what they are, but I was stuck in that guilt, that sadness, and I just could not shake it. And so it took me years. And so now when I see other women, and I don't even really remember what the catalyst was. I think it was I was just tired. That's what it was. I was just tired. I was sick and tired of being sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're still here. Your son is still here. And it wasn't fair to him, but it also, most importantly, wasn't fair to me.
Right.
So when I see women, and a lot of the women that come through Kicking It with Keshia, or part of Kicking It with Keshia, I want to help other women get unstuck.
Yeah.
I don't want women to lose as many years as I lost being stuck. So I honestly feel like when you say we inspire people, I think when people see, that's how it was for me with you. When I didn't want to keep going, it was because I saw you going that I knew I could do it. Because if you could do it with 3, I know I can do this with 1. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I kind of feel like when people know you've been down a certain path, what your words mean more.
Yeah.
It's easy to sit up on the mountaintop and tell people down in the valley, you can do it. If you've never been in the valley, they're not going to receive your words the same way. But I'm very transparent. Like, I let people know it was hard. It was difficult. I had dark thoughts. But I also realized I had to be active in getting better. So that's a big part of what I feel like I've become like the real estate auntie. Oh, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? People call me for advice, and sometimes they, I'm a little, as you could say, harsh sometimes. But you ain't no walk in the park.
No, but you know
what?
But
we're not measuring arms, because, but I just be trusting, because I remember one time you had said that, I'm just a little bit, but you kind of, you definitely know how to have, what was that book that one time? Because it used to be hard
Fierce
for you.
Conversations.
It used to be hard for you to have fierce conversations. You have fierce conversations
I've
now.
matured in that area.
Yeah.
I've grown in that area. Praise the Lord.
Kind of angry sometimes with it, but anyway, I digress.
Angry? Wow.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, that time we was up at Bella, you was mad.
Oh yeah, I was mad.
So that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
you don't
now
have
I'm still a Scorpio now. I'm still a Scorpio. And I'm from Chicago. Okay.
Conversations. But that's what I feel like is a big part of my journey. I'm just trying to see the way that I think I have to still push past the fear of the fact that I'm good at that. I'm good at.
You are like Big Mama, okay? Like, no, real talk. And I've told you this for a long time. Like, that is truly your gift. It's your gift. And you have the ability to people always use the term read, right? Like, I'm reading you. But you have the ability to gracefully read people. And gracefully read people, because you tell people what they need to hear. Because it's hard sometimes to tell people, like,
it is.
to articulate, oh man, they need to hear this, but I gotta figure. But you have a way of gracefully reading people. And it's a gift because not everybody can do that. Because if the receiver doesn't receive it, then what good is it you delivering a message? It has to be a message that can be received. And the way that you tell people about themselves, you do it in a way where they receive it. And that's a wonderful gift. And I've told you that, and I've benefited from it. And I'm grateful that you are sharing that gift with Kicking It with Keshia squad, because so many people, I'm like, I guess in a way that I'm a little bit, I don't want to say, what's the word? Like, you have been that for me, right? And throughout our friendship. And I know you are that to your other very close friends. We benefit from that. But it's like, man, that gift is so great. It should be shared with the world. So there are people
you have said that for years.
Yeah, I've told you that. Like, man, your light is incredible. Like, that thing is going to take you far. I've told you that, and I know it in my spirit and in my heart. And I'm grateful that you now are in a space where you're gonna
explore it.
Explore.
Yeah. And sometimes, one of my clients, he was telling me, he said, you doing real estate is really, it's just comfortable because you know it. And you're afraid that if you leave, and he was like, but I really feel like you're going to have to ultimately leave it to really soar into what, I said, well, Wells Fargo says I'm going to be doing it till I can make it stop. But I do think that is a big part of what I'm supposed to be, why God still has me here. Oh, yeah. I really believe that. And
you have a lot of, you've had a lot of life experience.
I have.
And to be able to come on the other side, what they say, like the phoenix rising, baby, you done been through the fire. Ooh. And you've been battle tested. So that's why I feel like people can even receive your message, and it comes from a place of, man, she knows because she's been through it, she's been through it. So I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you, B. Yeah. And you have said that for years, long before I even had a Kicking It with Keshia was anything. You've said that for years. Like, I really just think that this is just a platform for you to get out there and in terms of real estate. But it's just something personal for me that I want to do in real estate before I fully go into this other direction. And I think that, yeah, you're right. I become like big mama to all these, some realtors and people in general. I had a meeting about 2 weeks ago with, she's not a colleague, but she's in the real estate world. She works in the real estate world. And I needed to share some things with her. And there were some tears and things like that on her behalf. But one of the things that she said to me, she said, I could not receive this from anybody else. She said, I'm telling you right now, I will not be able to receive what you're telling me. But I feel like you, when you really care about somebody, even if it's just from a business perspective, although I care about her beyond business, but I am doing a disservice to you if I know that there's something you can be doing better. And it's affecting your bit and don't tell you. You know what I mean? I mean, because then how am I up in your face? How we kikiing and I'm not being honest with you. Yeah. Like, I feel like that is what I do think. And I say it in love, but I also am very, like, because I don't want you to misunderstand, like, this is what it is, you know. But if you wrap it up in too much, the message may be missed. Yeah. So that's why I have to deliver it like this, but then I'm gonna hold you up and I'm gonna love on you and I got your back, and whatever I can do to help you through this transition or whatever the case may be, I got you. You know what I mean? But yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
That's the way I look at it. Yeah. Well, we've talked about and kind of brought people up. I think that people absolutely know who Brandi and Keshia are, at least on a surface level. But all of the jokes and stuff aside, we've had some real life happening to both of us.
That we have.
And I think that's a big part of probably why you're in a soft life now. Yeah. You've adapted that. Yeah. So I think that we should share that. I think we should get more in details. I'm sure that y'all have probably seen our Instagram and you've heard some parts of our stories, but I kind of think we should probably, you know what? Actually, that probably should be an episode in itself. What you think?
I think it deserves its own episode, because the fact that you have two best friends, that have an experience, cancer, having breast cancer within a year's time. Like, what are the odds of that? And I think, we should we need to talk about your journey. We need to talk about my experience. And I think we need to enlighten women on the importance of early detection. So I think the awareness just surrounding that. So
yeah, I don't want to blend it with the comeback episode.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So we're going to say that for the next episode.
Yeah. And
So
with
y'all
that
stay
being said,
tuned.
yes.
Y'all stay tuned
for
episode 2
of Mama's on the Move
2.0.
See y'all next time.
Won't take me far. I'm living my life.